guys, welcome back to Beauty Bees. I'm Iris. Today we're doing a little declutter. We're getting towards the end of the year. I'm starting to think about year-end inventories, things I might want to work on project planning next year. And there are just some things that I don't need to take into the new year with me. So I went through my makeup and just things that I had out in my house. I have quite a few things here to show you. So let's just get straight into it. We'll actually start not with what I am wearing today, but with a product that made me decide to wear this today. This is the Maybelline Superstay Matte Ink in the shade Pioneer. This is a little mini that I got from, I believe, a Walmart beauty box. This is a tiny little sample. I never wear this because I don't really like the Superstay Matte Inks. I find them to be just a little bit on the sticky side. And like what I'm wearing today is a traditional matte lipstick. This is Dragon Girl from NARS. And I love the color. It doesn't really transfer too badly. And I really like that even though it might not look 100% perfect after, say, I've eaten lunch or something, I can touch this up really easily. I just pull out the lipstick tube and go for it. This I find really hard to touch up throughout the day, and I also find that it is so liquidy that sometimes I have a hard time getting a really precise line with it. Now, this has been in like 3 other declutter videos because I convinced myself that I'm going to declutter it and then I, for some reason, just can't pull the trigger and actually throw it away. But this time it's happening. 3rd time, 4th time, 5th times, the charm on this one. Let's just go based on what I see on top here. Next we have this little Glow Recipe Avocado Melt Retinol Eye Cream. This is not a bad eye cream. I just don't use eye cream, and I always get a little bit iffy with retinol products because I'm pretty fair. I am very sensitive to sunburn and sunlight at the best of times. I worry about putting retinol really anywhere on my face, but especially right around my eyes, which is probably a place that I don't do as good of a job of applying sunscreen to. Also, I mean, it doesn't impact the way that this performs in the slightest, but this looks really gross. It does look like, you know, an avocado-based product, but it's kind of gross looking in there. And I've had this for like 2 years and it's probably bad at this point anyway. Okay, I have 2 perfume oils that I am going to be decluttering. These are both probably 3 years old at this point. I really like spraying on perfume. I like having the little mist cloud that I can walk into, and that's not an option with these guys. Both of these are from little shops on Etsy. This is Morari Lady, and the second one I have is Aromagee's Botanica Laveau. I think that the little bottles, especially the Laveau bottle, are very cute. I like having them out for display, but it's starting to get a little cluttered and there's really no point in keeping these products that I'm never going to use. So those are going to go as well. Oh, this one makes me angry. This product. This is actually a pretty recent purchase. It is the Color Scope Water Activate FX palette from JCat. I got this at Ulta 6 months ago or less probably. And it is so messy. I cannot get this product to stay put. I have used the purple and the red, it looks like. And those were the 2 colors that I was most interested in. Like, I have eyeliners that are this kind of blue, a black, and a brown that I have in easier to use products in my collection. This purple and this red though, they just never really set down. It didn't matter, I felt, how liquidy or not liquid it was. I tried putting in as little liquid as possible to try to get a nice precise wing without having things dripping down my face, which was also sometimes a problem. This got so messy so quickly on me. It was just awful. I wore this in a video at least once that I can remember, and if I had not been wearing glasses in that video, I don't think I would have published it because it looked so messy so quickly. And I usually do my makeup not too long before I start filming. So this was a huge no for me. It was only $3 or $4, but it was $3 or $4 poorly spent. That was garbage. Oh, another inexpensive little drugstore purchase that I am regretting is this rich satin lipstick from Wet n Wild. This is the shade Once in a Millimelon, and I thought this was going to be very similar to the old matte lipsticks that they had. It's sort of a similar style of packaging, though I think those were black, if I'm remembering correctly. This is just not good. The way that it applies, it does kind of drag. It's not a really nice, smooth lipstick, which is not necessarily a problem. I mean, this was like $3. I don't expect too much, but it just looks so waxy on the lips. It looks pretty here in a swatch, but it just always looked like cheap drugstore makeup from about 10-15 years ago. That really thick layer that was just clearly sitting over your lips, but also somehow finding every line in the lips at the same time. I haven't seen a lipstick this bad in quite a while. That's a bummer because I actually really liked the old Wet n Wild matte lipsticks. Yes, this is a satin rather than a matte, but I liked the old Wet n Wild satin lipsticks too. This one's garbage. We're really not going in any order here. These are two more products that I just don't use. There's nothing bad about either of these. I just never use primer lately. And if I do, this e.l.f. Jelly Pop Primer is not one that I feel like reaching for. I know they brought this back recently. Apparently people really liked this, but I just don't care for it. I find it to be kind of sticky, and I don't wear a ton of base makeup. I am wearing a little bit of concealer, and I tried to do some fake freckles today. Not sure how the fake freckles turned out, but whatever. Yeah, I don't wear a ton of base makeup, so a really grippy primer isn't a necessity, and I really don't like that sticky feeling on my skin. I was trying to pan this year, and I just don't feel like it's worth it. I'm not really enjoying using it. It's wasting it on my face as much as it is wasting it tossing the bottle, or the tube. We'll get rid of the tube. The other primer I have is this e.l.f. Poreless Putty Primer, and this is a good product as well. I think this does a really nice job of smoothing over pores, or I don't have particularly large pores. I do have a lot of acne scarring, especially around the perimeter of my face, that takes the form of like ice pick scars, so they look like little indents in the skin. This does a good job of smoothing those over a little bit, but it's just a step that I've not been super into. Really, for like the last year and a half, I've been trying to pan this off and on for well over a year, and it hasn't happened, and I just don't really care about it that much. So I've had it for 3 years. I've been trying to pan it for a year and a half. It's not gonna happen. Probably shouldn't be putting 3-year-old product on my face anyway. Next we have a liquid blush. This is from YC Collection, and this is actually another item from the same project pan. This is the blush in Fresa, and It's pretty. Every time I use this, I feel like I would have liked using another product more. I put this on and I find that it's a little bit hard for me to blend out. It tends to look very bold on my skin unless I underpaint with it, which isn't my favorite thing to do. And I actually had a little bit of a hard time getting that blended out. I can still see the dot where I applied it. Haven't had that problem on my face that I can remember, but I'm having that problem on my hand today. I just always wish when I used this that I'd instead used one of my other cream blushes. I have a really lovely Fenty cream blush that I think is a little bit more on like the pink lemonade side, whereas this is more of a true pink, but I think is prettier and easier to work with, and I just enjoy using more. So why am I wasting my time with this, right? I have two lipsticks, and I really have the same problem with both of these. So the first one is Meet Matte Hues from The Balm. These are a quite nice liquid lipstick. If you are into a not too dry, but also not super matte, super long wearing liquid lipstick, these might be a good option for you. This is the shade, I can never remember where these are, Trustworthy, and it's just a little bit too orange for me. I don't find this color to be terribly flattering against my very cool toned skin. The other lipstick is from e.l.f. This is the Sheer Slick lipstick in Golden Pear. And again, it's just a little bit too orange. And in this case, it's a very like orangey brown kind of color. And this doesn't do anything for me. I find that I need to mix it, and I haven't been feeling like mixing it. This is another product that I've been kind of trying to pan for like 2 years at this point, and it's just not gonna happen. So why am I keeping it around, right? And we're going to wrap things up with 3 eyeshadow products. The first is from Kiko, and this used to be a real favorite of mine. This is the Bright Duo in shade 8, though this was a purchase I made probably 3 years ago, maybe even longer, maybe 4, and it was on clearance then. So I'm kind of guessing it is not around anymore. This is a white and yellow baked eyeshadow duo. It is raised, which is the one reason that I'm not actually going to keep this. I liked using this as a facial highlight. I never had a whole lot of use for the white side because there's quite a bit of glitter in the white side, but the yellow side is actually a very pretty, very smooth, interesting yellow shade. And I really did enjoy this, but I haven't been interested in using it for the last year and a half even. And I don't see myself getting interested in using it as a facial highlighter anymore. But I also don't think this is something that I would actually use and reach for if I put this in my eyeshadows. I wish that this was a flatter pan. If it was, I would just stick it in with my single shadows and probably get a little bit of use on it here and there, but this is pretty big and bulky and it just doesn't fit very nicely with anything else. So I don't see myself reaching for this little compact when I'm looking for an eyeshadow, so this is gonna go. Another product that I just don't see myself reaching for, really haven't reached for in the 2.5 or 3 years that I've owned it, is this little single shadow from ColourPop. Single shadow, Super Shock shadow from ColourPop. This is I Smell Children from their Hocus Pocus 2 collection, I think. Or maybe this is just their original Hocus Pocus collection. I don't know. I have never actually seen the entirety of Hocus Pocus. Never seen Hocus Pocus 2. I feel like I Smell Children is from the original Hocus Pocus, right? I don't know. Anyway, this is a pinky purple Super Shock Shadow. It is actually very pretty. It's just not the type of color I'm going to use in a Super Shock Shadow. Now this is actually starting to go a little bit dry. Not terribly, but it's definitely not true Super Shock texture anymore. It's a little drier than that. It used to be a little bit more pigmented. Now it's just kind of a weak pink purple eyeshadow, and this type of color isn't one that I feel really confident just applying with my finger. And that's really how I like using my Super Shock shadows. I like just dipping into them, applying with my fingers, often doing just one shadow looks, being really low fuss with them. And that isn't this product. So I haven't used it. I don't see myself using it going forward. And the last product is kind of a bummer. This is from ColourPop. It's Acai You Baby, the pressed powder palette. And I hate the packaging on these. This is so loose and it doesn't clasp anymore, which always makes me a little bit hesitant to use it. And while the shadows in here are okay, I just don't really care about any of them. Now, if it was a little bit easier to pop out, I would probably save this little pink shade. This is quite a pretty shade and it looks really nice on the cheeks as a highlighter as well as on the eyes, but I am certain that I have things that are similar enough to this, probably in highlighters, so I don't need to keep this palette for that single shade, especially since the fact that it is in with these other shades that I don't really care about in this awful, awful little piece of packaging makes me just not use this. So that is what I will be getting rid of. I think I alluded to this earlier, but inventory videos will be coming up sometime in December, probably more like mid-December this year, but we'll see. Hopefully, I will not repeat last year and post like half of my inventory videos in January. That would be nice. I don't know if it'll happen, but it would be really nice to get these done in December and not have that hanging over me going into 2025. All right, I think that about wraps things up. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed today's video. Please consider liking and subscribing if you did, and I hope I see you guys in the next one. Bye, y'all. Aw, you keep wanting to be part of this video. Do you want to get decluttered? Are we decluttering you? No, never. We're keeping Beetle. He's a good boy. Okay, I'm gonna put you down now. But I love you. You're just not getting decluttered.